the truth will set you free. Trentovision is hosted by Tom Trento, an activist street fighter with earned degrees in law enforcement, theology, and philosophy. Listen and watch every weekday on AM 1470 WNN and Trentovision.com. Now, let's take a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
Bye, Joe. You going? You going home?
You're on air.
He's going home. Yeah, I know. I can see this thing right here. It says on the air. I can see that thing right there. I'm saying goodbye to Joe, our
Bye,
engineer.
Joe. Have a good weekend.
Have a wonderful weekend. Watch out for Sandy.
Yeah.
Don't let Sandy get you. Sandy, ladies and gentlemen, is the name of the hurricane now that is barreling up the East Coast. And we are in South Florida. For those of you who are listening on your iPhones or internet, or if you're listening on WNN 1470, you probably know that we're in South Florida. But if you don't, we are indeed. We're in Boca Raton. And our friends out in the other locales in the United States of America, however you're listening, there is a hurricane. There is a hurricane going on. Somebody's talking there. Okay, hang on. There is a hurricane barreling up the East Coast right now, 13 miles an hour. That's actually a very fast hurricane. And Sandy is the 19th letter of the alphabet, S. So we've had 19 named storms, and thank God in heaven none of them hit Boca Raton where we are here, because just 2004, 2005, it looked like Boca Raton was a hurricane magnet. Hurricanes would go to Mexico, do an about face, and come back to Boca Raton and hit Boca. And they are not nice. There's nothing romantic about a hurricane. They're extremely deadly. They destabilize your existence, and they mess things up. It's that simple. Now we feel for and we're praying for our friends in the Northeast that are going to get hit with a Frankenstorm. If you've been hearing that term, you're going to hear a lot more of it, because this Category 2, it's a 1-2, 90 miles to 110 wind. I don't want to say that casually. A 90-mile-an-hour wind will knock your car off the road. A 50-mile-an-hour wind will knock your car off the road. But this thing is going up the coast, could hit North Carolina, could hit Philadelphia, D.C., New York, Monday, Tuesday of next week. And a good friend of ours had a theory that if President Obama wanted an October surprise, he couldn't have asked for anything better than Hurricane Sandy. Do you know how that would make sense?
Please tell us.
It's kind of bizarre, but there's a point there. Whenever there's a national disaster, and this will be a national disaster, it's going to hit areas that aren't used to hurricanes, and there's going to be probably loss of life and power out and buildings and all of that stuff. The country looks to the federal government, to FEMA, and it looks to the White House for assistance. So we could see, starting Tuesday of next week, Monday, Tuesday, we could see President Obama abandoning his campaign, saying, I cannot in good conscience campaign when my people are suffering, and flying in, fast roping down a National Guard helicopter and picking up rubble from a home or something. And we know that the mainstream media is in the pocket of the Obama administration, though we're going to prove this hour the rats are abandoning ship. Some of these liberal publications that historically have supported the leftist liberal politicians are just abandoning this White House. But nonetheless, could be, we see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, the president on TV all over the place, truly giving a helping hand to people. And that will possibly change the mind of a lot of voters, that, oh, this guy's just so nice and compassionate and wonderful, we've got to vote for him. So be on the lookout for This administration, vis-a-vis Rahm Emanuel, the former advisor in the White House to the president, the current mayor of the Windy City. You know how the Windy City got its name?
Please tell us.
Not from the wind that blows off Lake Michigan. I used to live there, and the wind's pretty
From the
crazy.
political winds?
From the airbag politicians of the 1880s and 90s.
From the hot air?
All the hot air coming out. A lot of windy politicians in Chicago, but Rahm Emanuel, the current windbag of Chicago, he said that never let a crisis go to waste. So if there's a crisis, a la Sandy, the hurricane in the Northeast, you may see an overt display of compassion from this White House. So that's going to be interesting to watch. Now,
Well, that would be new and different anyway, wouldn't it?
what? The who?
Peter.
Oh, we have Peter. Is he Skyping or?
We got him both landline and Skype.
Let's Skype him in. Let's show everybody the individual who, when we get rousted by the federales, who we call to bail us out of trouble all the time.
Yeah.
Our mouthpiece. Is
Yeah.
our mouthpiece Peter the Gun Feynman? Are you there, Peter?
I am. How are you, Mr. Trento?
I'm doing well. You're here
Let me
with.
put you on the speakerphone.
You can put me anywhere you want. You know, we got you Skyped in, so we're looking at you. So keep your
There
clothes
we
on.
go. Hi,
There you
Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Let me hear you talk. See how
Oh,
this.
he hung up on us.
No, he went on the.
No, he's still there.
He's on the
I'm here.
speakerphone. Okay.
Okay, all right.
So,
Okay.
Peter, just start reciting the alphabet if you can. Recite the alphabet.
AB.
you want to be decided backwards?
Yes, go backwards the alphabet, please. We want you to do it in German. Do it in German.
Sing it to the tune of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
They asked me to do that as a sobriety test one time. I failed.
But you've got that experience to help us if we're ever in that situation. So,
Okay, I think he passed the alphabet test.
but we don't drink and drive, you know. So, where'd he go? Anyway, he's there. Peter Feynman, a lot of things going on. Today is our Stormy Activist Friday. And by that, we use Fridays. By the way, we used to be 2 to 3 in the afternoons, and you've been in our studio. We are now on 3 to 6 drive time. How about that?
I think that's very, very exciting and very important because an informed electorate is an electorate that will save this republic. An uninformed electorate will be the destruction of our republic. So what you do is a great service to the United States.
Wow,
Well,
thank you.
Thank you. And keep those cards, letters, and donations flowing,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen. Peter, you are an accomplished 30-year attorney in Palm Beach County. You've represented our former organization, Florida Security Council, in a lawsuit against a local venue that rejected one of our events because they didn't like what we were doing. And you've been in some battles. You've written a couple of books. You understand the jihad. What are the titles of your books for our viewers and listeners?
Well, the first one, Tom, was Wake Up America. I published that in 2007. Unfortunately, though, Tom, not enough people woke up. So I had to write another book, which came out this year, called The Next Nightmare.
And dare we ask what the next nightmare means?
Yeah, just
I'm glad you asked that.
Okay.
Next Nightmare catalogs the destruction of the United States in the event that Barack Obama gets reelected, among other things. It talks about how
so
political
a bedtime story.
Yeah, bedtime. Seems to fit the theme of our show somehow.
Yeah.
Now, you are also a significant leader in the Republican Party in the state of Florida. What's your position?
I am the national committee man for the state of Florida at the RNC, which means that I represent the state of Florida along with our party's chairman and one other person at the RNC in Washington.
The
Okay.
Republican National Committee.
Yes, the RNC is the Republican National Committee. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
It's like the military people. That's speak only in letters.
Right, right. Well, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew how important you are.
Correct.
And among other things, you recently moderated a debate between two Democrat leftists and two Republican rightists, conservatives, and one of the conservatives was me, and you wouldn't allow me to continue speaking at one point. You actually stopped me. You saw through what I was doing. You're pretty good, let me tell you.
Did you Candy Crowley him?
You did a lot better than Candy.
That's a pretty big insult. But
No, it was a question. I didn't say you did.
I was trying to steal a few seconds, and he knew it.
He busted you.
He
'cause
busted me,
Yeah,
yes,
he
he
said you
busted
ain't
me."
slick and you're cut off, buddy.
Yep.
no, that's correct. But hey, let's talk about some of the issues of the day because there's so much going on.
Yes.
Well, your book really is the prelude to, we want you to share with the audience, the listeners, the viewers. We're on WNN 1470. It's 17 minutes after the hour right now. We're on TrentoVision.tv. Peter Feynman, attorney, Republican activist, leader. Share your thoughts with the listeners and viewers about the Obama administration in Act 2.
Sure. Well, the next nightmare tells us that the war against Islamist jihad is not over, and in fact is ramping up as we speak. The Obama administration has all of their political capital invested in the story that somehow they have defanged Al-Qaeda. That's absolutely false. They're on the rise. It's getting worse. And so when the Benghazi attack took place, they had no choice but to try to cover it up because it refuted all of their claims about their so-called successful foreign policy. So they had no choice politically but to cover it up. Worse than that, they had no choice but not to rise to the defense of our innocent Americans over there. And because of political expediency, we have Americans died fighting for their country, and the Obama administration lied about it. It's disgraceful. My son happens to be a captain in the United States Marine Corps. He happens to be overseas right now on a top-secret mission, starting out somewhere in the Arabian Peninsula, Qatar, where he started out. I don't know where he is now, and I want to tell you this. When I saw the news clip today about the father of that fallen ex-Navy SEAL, he said, who gave the order not to protect my son? That struck a chord in my heart. And you don't have to be a parent of a serviceman to understand what happened and how our government completely failed us, starting with the Obama administration, and then how Obama, Rice, and Hillary Clinton then lied straight-faced to the American people. And I know the economy is the most important issue we face, but if that's not enough to change our commander-in-chief, I don't know who is, Tom. This makes Watergate look like child's play, because nobody died in Watergate. We have great servicemen, great patriots died, and it could have been prevented. But because of political expediency, they were sacrificed on the altar of victory, or presumed victory by them. That's so wrong. It's incomprehensible.
Peter, besides being wrong, is it treason? Is it accessory to murder when you know that these people have asked for help and you say, no, don't go help them, let them be killed?
Let them be killed?
Let them be killed. I mean, that's what they said. Isn't that accessory to murder?
It certainly is an impeachable offense because it's an abject failure to uphold the laws and Constitution of the United States. But is it treason? I don't know if it's treason. I'm not sure I'd go that far, but it's past gross incompetency. It's willing to sacrifice human lives on the altar of political ambition. And wow.
Well, Peter, let's do this for a second, because those of us who are conservatives, which simply means the 101, Civics 101, smaller government. People rely on themselves, their families, their communities, all of that. You reduce the level of government, as little federal government as possible, as little state government as possible, and then as much individual responsibility as possible, okay? And through the past 30 years, you can see that whole paradigm switch from people becoming less personally responsible to relying more on municipal government, state government, and now federal government. All right, let's just take a step back. And for those on the other side, for our brothers and sisters and many of our families who do not think from the Weltanschauung, the framework of a conservative worldview, they view the world through President Obama's eyes. Take from the rich, give to the poor, an egalitarian society where everyone not only has the same opportunity, but they have the same resources to maximize those opportunities. Conservative says, we'll give you the same opportunity. We're not going to give you the same resources. Some people want to work hard, some don't, and then you're the beneficiary of hard work, or you're the beneficiary of not hard working. But go into the mind of one of the opponents of ours. How do they see Benghazi? How do they see the administration's actions? We see it so clearly as the failure because of political expediency. But how does somebody on the other side see it?
They see it. They're willing to sacrifice American lives so as not to offend our enemies. Because they have the worldview that, they have what I call the Neville Chamberlain worldview, which if we just make nice with our enemies, if we sign peace accords, if we show everybody our good intent, then we'll be able to live peacefully and coexist.
Relentless appeasement.
And so their worldview says, listen, let's not make any unnecessary waves. We'll deal with this after the fact. We'll show them that we have good intentions. We don't want to be too bellicose. We don't want to be too militaristic. And in that way, we'll better the prospects of world peace. That's what they believe. And so therefore, they're willing to sacrifice American lives, because it's only a few, in their mind, for the greater good. Because, liberals are all about the greater good. So they're willing to sacrifice what they consider to be a few rich people for the greater good. So they'll sacrifice a diplomat and a couple of servicemen for the greater good, because they're all about the greater good.
That's very Stalinist.
Their own lives, okay, and then it would be a different story. But as long as they can stay away from that, they salve their conscience by talking about the greater good, and they don't have to look at the individual good, because somehow the greater good trumps that of the individual. We're just the opposite. Every single human life, born or unborn, is important and has value in the eyes of God. Therefore,
Thank
we
you.
come from an individual, not a collective point of view. They come from a collective point of view. When you come from a collective point of view, you can sacrifice a few lives on the altar of collectivism.
It's
You
interesting.
can sacrifice millions of lives on the altar of collectivism, as we have seen throughout history in totalitarian regimes all over the world.
Okay, that's a great point. You go through the totalitarianism, the collectivism.
Exactly.
if you will, and
Exactly.
You see all the sacrifices under Stalin.
That's right. Well, if you're willing to sacrifice 4, why not sacrifice 4 million? What's the big leap there?
Right. Once you start down that slippery slope, you no longer value individual life. Now you
Leave it on a 2.
better. There's no stopping it. Look at the Pol Pot regime
No.
in Laos. Cambodia, all those years ago.
Yep.
That's what we're fighting. We're fighting a mindset of the collective versus the individual. Unfortunately, they're on the wrong side of history. If you look at human history, societies that support the individual and treat every life as important with dignity ends up having more prosperity, more freedom, and more dignity than the collectivist society. But people want to ignore history, and somehow we have to re-educate our voters every 20 years that individuality is the source of freedom, not collectivism.
We just had a 8-minute conversation that is almost impossible to carry on with a liberal, simply because they they close their intellectual apparatus, their logical system of considering anything that would persuade them differently. There's such a fear at having their mind changed. And, I've dealt with thousands, thousands of people through the years and all kinds of different, and so have you, Peter. But this 8-minute little conversation we just had is so effective in laying out two different frameworks. And in one sense, the liberal mindset of the greater good in a vacuum makes some academic, and most liberals come out of a sort of an academic background. You're
Right.
an attorney, you've got, degrees, and those of us here have degrees and all of that. So we're not non-academic by any means, but some people stay in that academic petri dish, if you will, and don't apply their philosophy to the real world situation on the ground. When you take that liberal template of the greater good and try to stick it into the Middle East, where you have jihadis following a theocratic 1,400-year-old ideology that necessitates a supremacist conquering of the enemy, which is any non-Muslim, you go, this stuff doesn't work anymore, What do we do? Well, we have to fight and kill them if they want to kill us. That's what's happening, and that's what happened in Benghazi. Let me bring in another friend of ours, Jack Gillis. Jack, today's our, Peter, today's our spooky, stormy Friday activist day, and we usually get a report from Jack and his on-the-ground work. Jack Gillis, you there? Hello, Jack. Is he there? Hello, Jack. I guess.
Okay,
we lost
he'll
him.
call
Okay.
back.
He'll call
Yeah.
back. Jack will call back.
Yeah.
And I think you know Jack, Peter. He's working on the ground to mobilize people to get out to vote, all of that. But let's take your analysis now, which I think was excellent.
There's one thing missing from there. When you said they turn off their logical chips, they turn off their morality chips as well, because everything you and Peter are talking about, the freedom of the individual, that is the basis of Judeo-Christian values. And these liberals are lacking in it. And they're trying to make sure that the rest of us cannot enjoy the freedom to practice it. And that is a fundamental component of their agenda.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's a great point.
Well,
because
go ahead, Peter.
you do come back to Judeo-Christian values. And that's where we fundamentally differ with those liberals.
Yeah, when you do the serious work of analyzing different political systems, and you start from the current position of I'm a Democrat, I vote the Democratic Party, and then you work back. Well, why? And why and why? When you ask the why questions, the sort of introspective, investigative questions, well, why do you vote that way? And why do you vote that way? And why? You will reductio ad absurdum in a real way. You will reduce the position of the individual, usually 9 out of 10 times, to an individual that has no vital faith in God, no real life other than, there's a God out there, maybe there is, but he's not involved in my life. Because the font of Western ethics flow from the Judeo-Christian worldview, we know. So we have found that a lot. And the statistics hold up very, very well, that the Democrat Party over the past 30 years has decreased in its, one, belief in God, and then decreased in its church or synagogue attendance. So the data matches the philosophy. And then you come out with an individual sort of on an ethical oasis, trying to figure out the world, and whoever has the best rap, the best kind of smile, if he's sort of a cosmopolitan young guy and he talks about hope and change, we'll go with that guy for a while. And then when you get screwed by this guy, because this guy told us, if I don't do what I'm going to tell you to do, I don't deserve a second term. Well, how can anybody in good faith vote for somebody who says, if I don't do what I told you I'm going to do, I don't deserve a second term, but now I do, I changed my mind. Because then if you don't go for him, you feel like, oh my God, I made a mistake. Let me give him another chance when you know you're going downhill. Jack Gillis, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Our friend Jack. Well, we have our other friend Peter Feynman on, and you guys know each other. Jack,
Absolutely.
let's get a quick report on the ground. Peter's given us sort of the 30,000-foot view of the Democrat and Republican or liberal and conservative philosophy. You're on the ground, grunt work, man. You're making phone calls. You're rolling people out. Get at the vote. What's going on in Palm Beach County, Broward County?
Well, the people are showing up at our volunteer center, compared to a week ago. Now, I currently had to come outside. I apologize for the wind here, but we've got about 45 people in there right now making phone calls in our.
Wait a minute. How many people? 4 or 5?
About 45 people right now.
45, like almost 50.
Yeah, this is during work hours.
Peter.
And people using their cell phones.
Peter, did you hear that?
I did.
What do you think of that?
Well, I'm telling you, it's like that all over the country. We have a ground game that is unbelievable this time around.
Go ahead,
That
Jack.
we didn't have in 2000.
Let's hear
And,
it.
besides that, our Palm Beach County satellite office there in Boca Raton is open now 7 days a week also, and they don't have enough phones in there. But I have not been keeping tabs on how many people there. It is a much smaller location than ours, so their numbers are fewer. But people are coming in here all jazzed up today because of the liberal Sun Sentinel.
Yeah.
right.
Mitt Romney.
That's right.
That's right. We're going to talk about that.
Let's get. I want Jack. When did you see that the liberal Sun Sentinel endorsed Romney? What happened that 1 second after you? Peter, I'm going to ask you the same question. What happened to you, Jack, when you saw that? Besides falling down and hitting your head and having to get back up.
I was surprised by it, but I think they're doing it strictly from a business standpoint because they continue to lose readership, because of their liberal views. And I think they made a business decision, to try to get back to the middle and they add a little more credibility back to where they used to be years ago.
Peter, do you know that the paper? You must know the paper.
Yeah.
When did you see it? Were you like in your pajamas sipping your coffee? Were you out jogging, or when did you see it?
I'm sitting in the same chair I'm sitting in now, and I fell out of it.
Share your thoughts.
And then I picked myself up, and I immediately sent it to all of my moderate and left-leaning undecided voters. And I said, don't look now, but the Sun Sentinel is going with our man. Still undecided? Question mark.
Wow.
Well,
And one guy emailed me back, a prominent Jewish Democrat in West Point Beach, and he said, "You're so polite the way that you promote your guy. I'm going to vote for your guy."
Wow.
and real quick, if you look at the other,
This is
If you
Mark.
ever want to run for office, I'll vote for you too.
This is Mark.
That's
Mark.
right. You have your own election.
yeah, I got the other surprise about a week ago was the Orlando Sentinel. We call it. I'm from Orlando. We call it the Orlando Slantinel because it is so left wing. And the 2008, they went for Obama also, and they jumped off the boat, and then you have the Tennessean up in.
On Michigan Avenue, right next to the Wrigley Building. Right across the street is the beautiful Chicago Tribune building, not far from City Hall, a landmark for the Daly family, for the Chicago thuggery politics. The Chicago Tribune has 2 renegade publications, the Sun Sentinel and the Orlando Sentinel. What about the Los Angeles Times, another Tribune?
They haven't. Let me check that one. I don't think they've endorsed that.
I think they went Obama.
I think they
had
went
to.
Yeah,
Obama.
I think Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
L.A. Yeah.
They had to. But
Yeah.
the Tennessee.
Well, their editorial board's been trying to cover him on
well,
Benghazi.
Hang on. Peter, What do you
Rant
make? What do
came
you?
out with some switches today. They noted the Reno, Nevada Gazette Journal has switched from Obama to
That's
Romney.
right.
Yep.
Yep.
The Boston Herald is going with Romney.
Wait, Mark, hold the papers for a second.
Okay.
Peter.
The Houston Chronicle.
Wait, hang on, Peter.
Wait,
Peter.
I got the
I
whole
want
list here. I got the whole list.
I want to work through this for a second. We have 2 Tribune papers. This is very big. We're at the bottom of the hour, actually 36 after the hour. You're with Tom Trento on Trento Vision, WNN 1470, broadcasting live. We're here for 3 hours today, folks, from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. No, we're not just in the 2 to 3 hour anymore. We're in the 3 to 6 hour. We're going to be with you till 6 o'clock. And we have Mark in the studio, CJ on the line. We have Peter Feynman, our good friend and
Jack Gillis.
and attorney. And then we have Jack Gillis, a Republican. What?
No, I just wanted to give you.
Yeah, let me get through this. Mark's all excited. Let me get
No,
through
I got
this.
some good news.
But I gotta. There's people tuning in all different times. I want to get them up to speed so they know what we're doing. So you guys stick with us. We got experts on the line, and the issue we're discussing right now, viewers and listeners, is the literally phenomenal breaking news that 2 left liberal papers, the Orlando Sentinel in Orlando, Florida, and the Sun Sentinel in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Florida, ladies and gentlemen, is the key state in Western civilization right now. In 11 days to determine who's going to be the president of the United States. And we have Jack Gillis, Republican activist, who just said he thinks it's for business reasons. Peter Feynman, why are these Tribune companies supporting, these newspapers supporting Romney?
I think Jack's absolutely correct. Circulation is plummeting, has been for a number of years. And I think they're realizing that they have to be profit-making ventures, and when you're out of touch with 65% of the people in the United States, you can go the way of Newsweek, or you can try to get in touch. And I think this is an attempt by them to try to get back in touch with the people that they want to read their paper.
The editorial boards at these papers probably were told, look, guys, things are rough. Advertising's down. You're going to have to go to part-time or something. They go, whoa.
Well, no, what they
Romney's
said
looking pretty
Romney's
good.
looking better now, man.
if Obama is reelected, our advertisers will go out of business,
Yeah, they will
and
go-
we will
yeah.
no longer have
point.
advertisers, and we will no longer have a paper.
Unless he subsidizes
Unless they get
the
government
local carpet
subsidies.
cleaners. Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, here's something that nobody's really reporting on, and this is I just now noticed this. I'm going throughout all the papers throughout the country. We'll go over one by one here.
No, I don't want to go through all of them.
No,
No,
Just a couple of them, yeah.
what I'm saying is we could do, but when you start looking down the list, all the ones who voted for Obama and voted for McCain, okay, there's a list of the Republican and Democrat for
2008,
Obama,
right.
2008, and you look at 2012, there is no flips the other way. For example, anybody who voted for Obama last year, they're flipping to McCain. I mean, they're flipping to Romney.
Right.
But there's none.
Oh,
Nobody
okay,
who
okay.
endorsed
There's
nobody who
nobody-
endorsed McCain is flipping
Flipping
over in
to
2012
to
to
Obama. There's no reverse flips.
So
Yeah.
those newspapers, the ones you're looking at, leading newspapers in America, that endorsed the Republican candidate in 2008, continue to endorse the Republican candidate.
Right.
But those that were endorsing the Democrat candidate have flipped to support the Republican candidate.
Right. There's no
They're
counter.
not going down the ticket.
No,
though.
There
They're
is.
not. They're not
No,
going
so
Republican
that's a
down
big
the
thing.
ticket.
That shows
They're
you the
just changing
sentiment of
the
the
top.
country. Right.
Maybe there is a God. Maybe there is. Hey, Jack, what word do you have for those listening and those watching? And this station goes out quite far, all over the place, from North Miami up to Fort Pierce. Key areas, key demographics for this election. What word do you have to those listening now or watching? They got 11 days left. What could they do to get involved? We don't want to just here at Trento Vision just theoretically discuss this stuff. It's hard work. I mean, we're here. We're preparing to, each day to do these shows
And we're not
hard work.
sticking to the schedule, if I may
No,
add.
no. The schedule's in my head.
The program is not happening the way you told us.
The schedule's in my
Did I
head.
just say that?
It's a fluid schedule. But what could people do? Somebody sitting at home is going, "Oh my God, this is great news. I want to do something, but I only have a couple hours a week, and I can't travel that well." And what could they do, Jack? And Peter, I want you to answer that too. But Jack, you first.
There's many things that they can do. Number one, we've got a call center where volunteers come into and making calls. So it looks at this point here, I can't take any more volunteers. I don't have enough.
I can't take any more volunteers.
Peter, help this guy
I
out.
think the number one thing people can do now is to
No,
motivate
Peter's shaking his head no.
their family, friends, or church members to make sure that they get out to vote. Because if we show up, we win.
Hey, Peter, I'm sure you got Romney's personal phone on your speed dial. Tell him to send some dollars to Jack to open up an annex or something. I've never heard anybody say, "I have too many volunteers." What is that all about?
Good grief.
Man.
Go out and rent a tent.
Yeah. Rent a tent is right.
That's right. Pitch a tent.
send some of the
we
Romney
need a
dollars down that
revival.
way.
We need a revival tent.
So, Jack, what...
A matter of fact, I'm going to need to almost cut this thing short. I've got some people here.
He's got to go back to
He's got to
work.
go back to work.
My building, I don't even know who they are.
Okay.
I apologize to everybody. I'm going to need to get in there and see
It sounds
who
crazy.
they are.
Hey, man, you're making our afternoon, let me tell you.
Yeah. Thanks for spreading some good cheer.
Yeah.
Especially when I saw a video today of folks on our side who infiltrated the Obama campaign offices.
We'll say bye to him first.
And bye, Jack.
Bye.
All
Thank
right,
you.
guys, take care.
They infiltrated the Obama campaign offices and caught on camera some of the Obama people in Texas and a few other cities helping them vote twice in 2 different states. So, those guys are desperate right now. Peter, what can the folks do? And then we'll let you go. You got a couple of minutes to share your thoughts.
Okay, what I have to say is this: be bold. We have 11 days to go, 10 and a half now. Be bold. What do I mean by that? Be bold. Hey, when you're in the supermarket, when you're in the bank, when you're at your place of worship, just don't be afraid to say, "Hey, election's coming up. Who are you voting for?" And engage people in conversation. Hey, it's unbelievable what's going on over there in Clinton, isn't it? What are you talking about? Oh, blah, blah, blah. And just be bold. Come out of your comfort zone. Because
I like it.
this. Down to the last 10 days, and the future of our country is at stake. You're standing in the grocery store at Publix or Winn-Dixie or Walmart or Target, and you're waiting in line to buy your Gatorade, your milk, and your water.
And your Wheaties.
Yeah.
Hey, have you voted yet? What are you talking about? Offend people. It's all right.
What do you have to lose?
We have nothing to lose except
Okay.
our country and our children.
We get the
and our
country back.
future.
Excellent. And Peter, where is the happening place to be on November 6th? Where's it all happening?
Where's the big Romney party at?
Actually, if you could just text me that information privately.
I think it's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be pretty public.
Yeah.
A lot of places. I've been asked to go over to Tampa. Don't know if I'm going to do that yet, but that's where a lot of the state leaders are going to be. In Palm Beach County, we will let everybody know, and you guys can put it out over the airwaves.
Will do.
Okay.
Well, guess what? When you go to Tampa, you could stop at the Tampa Tribune because you know what they did?
That's right.
But
Tampa Tribune flipped.
They endorsed Romney.
They endorsed Romney.
wow, I didn't know that. When was that?
Tampa Tribune here. It's the. Let me find it right here.
That is amazing. I mean, Tampa, USF, University of Southern Florida, Jihad University.
Jihad, you.
That is such a. You know what? Maybe it was the RNC, the Republican National Convention.
Well,
Who
actually,
knows?
when the St. Pete Times endorses Romney, then we'll
Well, yeah,
really
that
know
didn't
there's a
happen.
change.
No,
The
St. Pete
Tampa
Times. No, they already.
They are,
They
of
went
course.
the
That's what
other
I'm
way.
saying.
They're not
you know.
called the St. Pete
Tampa
Times.
The Tampa Tribune is a little bit more conservative than that. Not by a lot,
But they did. I know they did support.
Yeah, I know they did. I just looked at the
endorse him.
date.
Yeah.
All right, Peter Feynman, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and we know you bill out about $600 an hour, so your time is very, very, very valuable. But actually, he's not that high, ladies and gentlemen. If you need a
October
good lawyer,
21st.
if you need a good business lawyer, this is the guy to do it. He does tremendous work for sure. How can people get in touch with you, Peter?
They can go to my website, FeynmanLaw.com.
FEAMAN, FeynmanLaw.com. If you need a good mouthpiece to handle your business stuff, this is the guy to do it, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, hey guys.
Also, please read his books.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been promoting them on the web here. October 21st was a Tampa Bay Tribune endorsement.
Okay, beautiful. Just the other day. Thanks, Peter. Take care, and we'll give you a call next week to do another update.
You guys are great Americans.
Hey, we're trying.
Right, right.
We're trying.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
47 past the hour. We are here in Boca Raton at WNN 1470. We just spoke with our good friend Peter Feynman, who is not only a very highly accomplished business attorney, he's a activist and leader in the Republican Party for many years. He's run for various offices, won some of them, lost a couple, and he has been representing some of our sister organizations in various situations. Tough guy, tough attorney, knows what's going on, understands the United States of America, understands the jihad, and understands what it means, as we start at the top of the first hour, of men being lost in battles where they ought not to have been lost. And the father of one of them now coming out to speak. Peter Feynman is the father of an active duty Marine who is on special duty, let's just say, in the Middle East. And so he's a wonderful guy, and we're privileged to have him on the air. And Jack Gillis.
Oh, I know.
Jack is just an all-American, hard-working. He ran a business for many years, sort of retired now, but loves America, and dove in for 3, 4, 5 months now, grinding away, phone centers every night. He doesn't have a life anymore, but he's emblematic of what it's going to take to bring America back to where it needs to be, a conservative base. Mark, you got something?
It was just hilarious. I remember talking to Jack a while back ago. He goes, I don't know if I'm going to get anybody in here. We can't find any space. And now he's like, we got too many. Who are you? Who are you? We got too many people. We're turning them away. So.
Well, what happens is, it's like anything else. I mean, once there's a shift, and the shift was October 3rd, that first debate, where Obama didn't have his earpiece in.
Yeah.
Have you seen all of that?
I have, yeah.
No,
now,
I
has
don't
that
think
been?
that's- I don't think
yeah,
that's
I don't know.
real.
You think that's real?
No,
or?
I don't think that's
No,
real.
I don't think that's
I
real
think
at
that's
all.
just crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But Obama he's a teleprompter guy. I've been to several of his events so far. I've watched him in person, and he lives and breathes by the teleprompters. I mean, they're there, and he usually has 2. Sometimes you have 3, so you hit all 3 points of the 180. If you're a speaker, you hit
You're
all
like
3
this,
points.
this,
boom,
this.
boom, boom.
Yeah.
And he lives and breathes from that. And after a while, you develop